I don't know what the Q sounds like. I don't know
I don't know
any of
if
that
it's
stuff.
mastered. I don't know if the song is dissing the club owner. It might be dissing somebody who's in there with us. It might be dissing me. Who knows? I ain't heard it yet.
Hey Ray, let's get to it. I love when we have guests.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Listen, y'all, we are blessed. I'm going to read this brother's bio because it's meaty.
Man.
And we are so honored to have him here with us on Q Point. So I want to read the bio and then we're going to bring him on. But DJ R-Tistic is an internationally acclaimed DJ hailing from Los Angeles, California. He is a graduate of Florida A&M, which is where his passion for DJing came into fruition. DJ R-Tistic has become one of the entertainment industry's favorite DJs, and he has DJed special events for, listen to these names, y'all: Issa Rae, Diddy,
Yeah.
Stevie effing Wonder. Okay?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Snoop Dogg, Jada Pinkett Smith, Lena Waithe, Common, who I just wrote an article about. I need to put that in the chat. Floyd Mayweather, and Marlon Wayans, to name a few. This is a big deal. He is known for his high energy sets along with his expert level crowd reading abilities, which is why he is here for this conversation. He has DJed in 7 countries outside of the US, including Nigeria, Jordan, Ghana, Jamaica, and France. Folks, welcome DJ R-Tistic.
Hey,
What's good?
What's happening?
I made it through. I had to come through with y'all. What's the word?
Listen, I'm thrilled because I had the honor of being on your podcast, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, thank you.
But it's
Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Oh no, pleasure was mine. And so funny, J Ray, do you know R-Tistic was here in Atlanta for a was it a Rock the Bells event? Yes, it was a Rock the Bells event. We were in the same space and walked right past each other. I was looking for my people, and he was, of course, on a mission doing what he was doing. And we just kind of like, pew, 2 ships in the night, just walked past each other. Then I was like, later on that evening, I was like, hold up. He was here in town. Get out of here. And he's always in town. He's always traveling around. Listen, you are doing what a lot of DJs want to do, and that's constantly gig and travel with it. So in this day and age, what do you attribute to that? It's a blessing, because it's a blessing.
You're right about that.
Consistently.
It's something. Yeah, it's something that I can't take for granted at all. I would say one of the main reasons I gig so much is just, aside from me doing it forever, because a lot of DJs have been doing it forever too, of course, but it's just because I've been able to kind of expand and hit so many different crowds. It's where a lot of times on the surface, it just sounds like, all right, you're a hip hop DJ or R&B DJ, and it sounds limiting on the surface, but it's so much beyond that, because it's about, can you tap into each and every crowd that likes different types of hip hop and R&B? At this point, we have a full 4 decades of hip hop, and R&B can go 7, 8, 9, 10 decades, depending on what you call R&B. So it's like, obviously, a lot of times people do focus on 2000s R&B, 90s, 2000s R&B hip hop, but when you can go not only to different decades, but then different regions, and that's why I'm always traveling, is because hip hop at this point, like, it's everywhere you go is going to be different, even within one city. I'll say even for Atlanta to be, it's kind of interesting with Atlanta because it's been the home of hip hop since the mid 2000s. Like, New York is the birthplace, obviously, but as far as it's the home of most of the new hip hop and sounds and trends, it's Atlanta. Even with that, when I go out there, I can go to 10 spots and hear 10 different styles of music, all black DJs, all black sounds of music. But it's like, and even with just Atlanta music, you can go, at this point, 90s Freaknik is different from what Outkast and Goody Mob did. That's different from Trillville and Lil Jon. That's different from the Crank That movement. That's different from Young Thug and Baby. It's just so many different types just for Atlanta alone. So for me, it's just about being educated within each of these regions, and just each of those subgenres to me.
Wow. Oh, that's bringing up a lot. So, how do you, what is kind of your prep? Like, what's your, when you are traveling the world the way that you do, like,
Yeah.
how do you decide, like, okay, how do you get ready to go to from venue to venue? Is there, like, what's your formula for that? How do you figure that out?
For me, I mean, because one thing that DJs always say when they see my crates are like anybody else calls them playlists, but for Serato we call them crates. So it's just different folders that, however you organize it. Everybody always tells me that I have supposedly the most organized crates they've ever seen, but with that is where the crates are just so specific. I have one for each state, for each decade, for each like subgenre. I have one just like Afro beats is here, dancehall is here. Then I'll have like eclectic selection type K-Tronada music. Then I have one for 90s house. I have for Atlanta, I have 3 different decades of Atlanta crates. I have 4 different ones for LA. And then it's broken down so much that whenever I go out of town or out the country, I don't really have to prep a whole lot, but unless it's somewhere I haven't been before or somewhere that I'm not familiar with. But usually what I do is this, wherever I go is ask the local DJs there, like what's some of the songs that are working here that I might not be as familiar with. But even beyond that, I like to go out in that place before I actually DJ, especially when it's a domestic gig, because if it's Houston, Atlanta, New York, Philly, Jersey, Chicago, I like to go out to a club that's a similar crowd to where I'll be DJing the next night, so I can just kind of hear it. Because even when somebody tells you what to play, it doesn't really always work. You gotta know how to play it, what type of set it fits in with, what part of the song to play, and what part of the song not to play. Because certain songs you want to skip that first verse to get straight to the second verse. Certain songs you gotta let that third verse play. Certain songs they only want to hear that chorus, but you gotta play that one chorus. So it's just about knowing the nuances of each song. So I like to still hear like exactly how it's played, and you know what, how I can use it to my benefit.
Absolutely. And see, you walked right into my next question, or yeah, discussion point is I follow R-Tistic on Twitter, and he's great about bringing up these very DJ specific topics, and we all of us, other DJs follow, and we correspond and talk about these different topics. But just like you said, when you go to a venue and when you're actually playing
Yeah,
and something just doesn't land, you just like, I just knew this song, I just knew this was going to hit, I just knew the people was going to give me that ooh ah from the crowd, I
yeah,
was going to feel all of that from them, and when you drop it, it does not land. It's like they're all
yeah.
preoccupied, they're looking in their phones, they're not giving you what you thought you were going to do. What's that, what's it like for you to recover, or how do you, what do you, I know recovery for
Yeah.
us, we just have to keep doing it, we just have to keep practicing, keep playing, and you just have to be ready. But for DJ R-Tistic, what's recovery like when something just does not land like you thought it was going to land?
I mean, the thing about it is like DJing is really like the closest entertainment profession to being a psychic, because the whole night you're just predicting what a crowd's going to like. You never, ever,
Yeah.
ever know. I don't care
Nope.
how experienced you are. I don't care how much of a legend you are. You never, ever, ever, ever know how a crowd is really going to receive each and every song. It could be a song that works every night for a whole year. Now, one night it doesn't work, or it could be a song that you in somebody's hometown and you know this is a local classic, and you play it and it's like, oh, maybe they're tired of this song, or maybe this crowd is too young for it, maybe this crowd is too old for it. Like, you never ever know. So to me, I always say the most important song you play all night is the next song. So it's like,
Yeah.
no matter what you playing, it's like whether you playing something good, great, or whack, it's all about what are you coming with next. So whenever it doesn't land, it's different ways to get them back. Like if they rocking with you all night, it's easier to get them back anyway. Like they might not even trip that much, but a lot of times I use that time to even, you might even do like, I might use mic tricks just to kind of, all right, they're kind of dead. All right, so where my birthdays at? All right, where my tequila drinkers at? Where my, HBCU? I might just use some type of shout out points just to keep the energy going, or whatever it is. I might use that to shout out the bartenders, or I might, whatever it is, just to kind of like match that moment. But one thing about me is, I actually study comedians a lot when it comes to DJing too, because being a comedian is, it's a lot of parallels to being a DJ. I have a lot of comedian friends too, so it's like one thing
Yeah.
about that is that one technique I use from comedians is don't bail. Like one thing about comedians is if you're telling a joke and the joke is not landing, but they always say don't bail. You might be halfway through the joke, you can just tell they're not going to really respond to it, but don't bail. Just keep on pushing through, do whatever you can to kind of hype it up, and then if it doesn't land right away, just switch up the whole topic, but just pick out something while you're still saying that joke. Have something in your head to get them back. So the same way with DJing, like if I play a song and it don't land, I'm not gonna just switch it within 4 bars. Like, oh, it didn't work. It's certain songs I'm still gonna let ride for a verse or a chorus at least, and then it's all about like having something as a backup, because whatever I drop, I already have something in mind for where I'm going next for the next couple songs. So I might say, all right, if maybe this set is burnt out, maybe I can switch the whole topic up and go to a different genre, or either I'm gonna stay in this genre, but I'm gonna go with a harder hitter that I know is more guaranteed. But it's like I'm always thinking, all right, what's gonna happen next? So it's kind of different ways to go with it.
I receive everything that you just said. And it's true, J Ray. Like, we really have to sit up there, and there is a lot of future planning when it comes to DJ. That's what I call it, future planning.
Yeah.
I give you for instance. So at Rocksteady, I play R&B.
Yeah.
I play R&B, slow
That's my spot.
jams, sing-alongs, whatever. One night, I drop and I try not to this song is a crutch, but I try not to drop it too many times. But I'm dropping Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell. One Sunday, everybody's just singing along. The whole club is going, the whole restaurant is going up.
Yeah.
People standing up, they singing along to each other and at the top of their lungs, and I could pull it down at the high part, everything, and it's just a lovely experience. Following Sunday, dry. People are just they eating, they drinking. They don't care about what I'm doing right now. They just in what they're in. And you know what? I have to be okay with that. That's a technique. That's something that I came in with. I have to be okay with the fact that they're preoccupied. They're doing what they're doing. My job, like you said, is just to keep it moving and to keep the next song be even better and continue building. So So, J Ray, when you hear DJs talk like this, we really put a lot of thought into what we do. I think DJs deserve a lot of respect for what we do. We spend a lot of money on equipment. It's not a game out here. We really are working.
So,
yeah.
You know what? Before we jump into, because to DJ Sir Daniel's point, there's something we want to chat about with you that I'm sure you've heard about over the last week or so. But just that idea of like crowds, like how have you seen, if at all, like how do you think crowds have evolved in kind of like our current TikTok moment, like in the way that folks consume music? Do you see a change in how crowds behave?
It's where so when I was in Atlantic City, Jersey, doing the NAACP convention, they had me doing the youth parties too, as mainly the college crowd. And with college crowds, I feel like the more and more time goes on, I feel like basically is where a lot of times younger crowds just have a very short attention span. But overall, I think one of the biggest changes I've seen is that DJs aren't always the ones to break music first, and people don't always respond well to brand new music. So it's always funny when I do see people on Twitter and Facebook talk about DJs play the same exact songs and they don't try to play anything new and break new music. And I'm like, now music is broken through the SoundClouds and Mixclouds and these Apple and Tidal playlists. So people aren't always excited to hear a brand new song. So it's like I still play plenty of brand new stuff every week, every night, depending on what type of crowd it is, depending on what time my set is. At that, it's certain crowds and certain sets. If I'm hired as the headliner to go at 12:30, I can't really play anything brand new unless I know it's going to hit and it fits perfectly within that set. But aside from that, it's where crowds used to be used to hearing new stuff. Because I remember being back in college where I remember the first time I heard songs like Pump It Up from Joe Budden, which is a joke of a song now, but at the time, that song was a banger. I don't care what you say back when it came out. Like, I was early college. I was a hit, and in certain songs I can remember hearing for the first time. I remember hearing the Yin Yang Twins Whisper song the first time, and I couldn't hear the lyrics because it was like all bass in there, but I remember just saying this bass line is hard though. I don't know what's going on, but that 808 is hitting, but it's like the crowd danced to it. But nowadays, a lot of times crowds are so used to, not only are they not used to hearing songs brand new in the club, but it's vice versa where they hear music before us or same time as us because it's like these songs come out at the same time every Thursday at midnight, which is 9 p.m. Pacific time, so we can play it at a club in LA at 10 p.m. But it's where people come up to us like, I've been at the club at 10:30, like, hey, play that new whatever. Like, I'm like, when did it come out? Oh, it came out an hour ago. And it's like, they already heard it because it came out an hour ago. And it's like, when it comes to that, it's like, we're not the ones who are able to hear it first. So a lot of times they come to us. And then with that, some crowds know it the first night, some crowds don't. Like, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but like Beyonce Break My Soul, the first night I got it, I played it that night at my spot, The Dime. It was more men that night, and that's even deeper topic we'll talk about. But like,
Right.
it was more men, so they didn't really respond to it. But that second night, the women all knew it already that very second night. So it's like, it's where depending on who it is, it can help us because everybody gets it at the same time on Twitter. So certain crowds are gonna know it, but then certain crowds who are not on social media, they might not hear it for 2 or 3 more weeks. So it's crowds are different with that too. Before I move on, it's like every crowd now is so much different based on, you can tell who's in touch with social media and who's not. I have certain crowds where these TikTok, these trending songs, like say this year it's the anniversary A Bay Bay, the Jersey Club remix. At certain clubs, as soon as I play that, the whole crowd's doing that little moonwalk dance. It's other crowds that might be the same exact age, but if they're not social media savvy, they'll be like, what is this? They're confused to it. They think I'm playing the original song. And they're like, why is he playing Anniversary Tony 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 in the middle of a crunk set? So it's like, it can be confusing with that too.
Wow. So many valid points. And you definitely have led into one of the conversations that Sir Daniel and I wanted to have with you. So there's been a lot of slander of DJs that has just come up in the zeitgeist, it appears. So we're going to play a quick clip. This is going to be a clip of Travis Scott very recently. And we're going to talk about a couple of other things after this, but let's see.
Yeah.
You talking about hurting my soul?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. It's like, for what? What was the purpose?
What was the purpose? So what we want to talk about, okay, so we have that, which was like, wow. And then we had, of course, the Wiz Khalifa speaking to the DJ. And you said something that helps folks to understand how the music moves. And I want to make sure that we highlight that, in that you're like, listen, artists are putting the songs out. People are getting the songs real fast. And if you DJing, you like, I may not have heard that joint yet. You know why? Because I'm here. Like, I'm
I was shaking up when it dropped. Yeah.
Exactly. And here you come pushing a flash drive in my face where I might be in the middle of something, and then I have to worry about switching over from, it might be a CDJ, and I have to worry about switching over from a CDJ to a flash drive, then have to scroll through your whole catalog that you have on there to find the song that you're talking about. I don't know what the cue sounds like. I don't know
if it's mastered. I don't know if the song is dissing the club owner. It might be dissing somebody who's in there with us. It might be dissing me. Who knows? I ain't heard it yet. Yeah.
Wow, that is, you just broke down layers of what can, you mentioned one, mastering, because you as a DJ need to know what that song sounds like. You might drop that joint and it's like distortion everywhere because it's blowing the speakers.
Yeah.
You don't know what the lyrical content is, all of that different stuff. So wow, what I also hear you saying is, as a DJ, y'all are holding a lot of things as you are playing to a crowd.
Yeah, because it's like, you never know what the song is really saying. Because especially if it's a brand new artist or a random artist, or even somebody asking for something that I haven't heard before. It's like, I can hear it for 5 seconds in my headphones, and I can tell within those 5 seconds, all right, that beat is cool enough so it can probably work sonically, production-wise. But even with that, who knows what the lyrics are saying? It might be homophobic. It might be anything that's offensive to the crowd there. So it's just like, it's still a risk and a gamble for us to play a brand new random song that we haven't heard yet. We never know what's on it.
Wow.
And so back to Wiz Khalifa specifically.
Yeah.
The approach was super disrespectful. the approach was, it was really violent and aggressive for no reason. I mean, he said what his reasons were behind his behavior,
Yeah.
but I still don't see the merit in it, in that kind of behavior. But of course, like everybody, when you do something and it's caught on social media and it makes you hot, and you have a new project coming out and you want to go on an apology tour, he did just that. And he went
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on somebody's show, and he gave an apology, kind of, sort of.
I guess you call it
and
that. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I know how I feel about it. I wanted to hear from you, like, do you accept Wiz's apology, as it were?
I
Or
mean, so the whole thing is, I know the DJ and the MC who were doing it that night. Like
Mhm.
I saw Mikey literally the day I saw that video, the same
Wow.
exact day. So it's like it happened the night before. It happened on a Friday. I saw Mikey that Saturday. We were just talking, chilling. Like he didn't mention it. I had no idea. So a few hours later, my homegirl sends me the video, and I'm just like, "Wait, that happened?" And it's like, it's where, of course, when you talk to the DJs and the MC, and then you talk to, or you hear people who claim to be with part of a Wiz. I mean, not even just that. Even I know folks from Wiz side who were there too, and some of them are my folks. So it's like some of them kind of had their explanation of what happened. My whole thing is, it's one of those situations where no matter what they did, if they didn't push him, if they didn't cuss him out, if they didn't do anything disrespectful, they don't deserve to be pushed. They don't deserve to have their hats thrown out in the crowd. I feel like Wiz kind of picked and chose his target. I feel like is where he was pushing them, but he would have did that to every DJ. I know DJs who, especially some of my homies from LA, I'm not even gonna say who they are, but there's certain ones who, if he had did that to them, it would have been a problem right there and outside. It would have
Yeah.
been where, as soon as he left the stage, it would have been a problem if he had even made it off stage. You feel me? So it's like,
Wow.
it's one of those type things where that's another reason why I don't respect what happened. So it's like, I heard what he said, his apology. Maybe I didn't hear the whole clip, but what I heard, I didn't hear him actually apologize. I heard him explaining what happened, and he was saying, like, some of these young DJs just need to be kind of hazed or trained, and kids ain't, don't get spankings anymore. Whatever he said in those terms was like, he was almost making a joke out of it to me. So I feel like with that, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna play a Wiz song again. Like a lot of us were saying that we haven't been playing this music lately anyway, which is where, like, he's never been a club artist. Of course, he had We Them Boys. He had songs that we obviously did play, but it's
Right.
like overall he's more of a vibes artist and a club artist anyway. But it's certain songs that he's featured on with my homies. I mean, he got songs with Ty Dolla $ign and Problem and Snoop and everybody else who's LA who we rock with. So I'm gonna still play those songs, obviously. But it's just like overall, I don't believe in canceling every single artist for everything that they do. But because of what he did, he apologized. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm a forever cancel him and erase his music, but I still don't rock with what he did. So that's all I can say. I don't agree with what he did, how he did it. As far as with Mikey and what they told me how it happened from their perspective, it's like, even if they did mess up, even if Tron was talking over the song, Tron is a type, he the homie, but he can get hype. He can talk a lot. He might be, bring this song back, whatever it was. They're the resident DJs for that club where they do it often anyway. It wasn't like the whole party was Wiz's album release party. It might have been a flyer that said Wiz album release party. That don't mean that the party was thrown for Wiz. It happens
Right.
to be a club that's every week. They happen to have him there as the guest host. So it's like, in that moment, who knows what they were thinking? They might have felt like the crowd's not rocking with whatever we do. So Tron might have been trying to hype it up. He's a type that's going to be, hold up, bring that back. No, there's a hit right here. It's Wiz Khalifa, brand new music. He's right here with us. You need to get more hype for it. So it could have been that. I wasn't there to see it. But overall, I trust their judgment. And Wiz is a professional. He's been doing it forever. So I just wish he hadn't taken those measures of actually being physical with it. That was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That was yeah. So thank you so much for weighing in on that. That is definitely both Sir Daniel and I seeing that was like, no.
Unnecessary.
Well, cool.
Absolutely.
Well, cool.
And I'm such a fan of DJs. Obviously, I work with a DJ every week, and my artistic career essentially started with DJs. So, and I believe in the power of what y'all do. So, yeah. So, I got a question for the both of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm really into tech stuff.
Yeah.
And it was funny. Like I've been watching some of your videos, R-Tistic as well, and been seeing you like playing around with some. I'm like, oh, that's like dope. I've read about that. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking for like the future. Are there any DJ tech things that y'all are excited about? And what are they, and why are you excited about them?
I personally can't say there's anything I'm excited about right now. I'm excited about getting some new turntables because I love
Yeah.
spinning vinyl.
For real.
I would like to get into the get back into some Serato and get the phasers so I don't have to always wear my needles out.
Oh yeah, for
Which
sure. Sure.
I would like to upgrade to that at some point. But for me, in the stage that I'm in and what I'm into, the artistry that I'm into right now, it's more so about the music. It's more so about um, the digging, the vinyl. That's where I'm at right now. But I love seeing all the technology and I love seeing the things that people can do with it. So, and I'm always definitely down to learn. And if I have an opportunity, like Rocksteady has been a blessing in the fact that I got to learn on their equipment because I had never
Mm.
touched the stuff. Because sometimes you can't afford
Yeah. Yeah.
more equipment and that a lot of people are using all the time. So it's like, shout out to DJ Precise for the for the tutorials telling me, hey, come on down. I'm spinning right now and I need you to be able to work this equipment. So I need you to come
Mm.
down and watch me do this and I'll teach you how to do it while I'm playing. And you're like, sure, come I'll run down and do that because that's what you do. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. But R-Tistic, I'm sure there's some tech that you are really getting into now because things are getting smaller, they're getting
Yeah.
more compact. And what
I
are you
mean,
looking for?
for me, I did get the Rev 7. Like I've always been I won't say I've been anti-controller. It's just that I've never liked controllers. I never like how they feel. I never like anything about them. And also the interface. I'm very picky about just the mixer interface. So the fact that the Rev 7 is the same as the S11, S7, S9, because like even with effects, like I'm a type that just loves using effects. I used to be a producer before I was a DJ, so I like to kind of play around with the effects, not to where it's masking transitions, not to where it's like masking any skill or deficit in skill, because that's how some old heads see it. They see it like, or if you gotta use effects, you use that because you can't blend right. It's like I don't have to use an effect, but it adds to it. It's just adding flavor to it. So with the Rev
Absolutely.
7, it's my favorite controller because it's all in one piece, and it's the closest thing to feeling like turntables as not turntables aside from like the Rain 12. So it's all in one piece. It's easier to connect. So I don't use it all the time. Whenever I'm actually doing an event where I can have a writer and have somebody set up equipment for me, I'm still gonna get an S11, S9, and turntables. Period. But when it comes to something that I have to bring my own equipment to, and I don't feel like having to bring out my turntables and mixer, that's the easiest thing. So that's probably the best thing that I've been using recently. On the flip side, I've mentioned on Twitter that now there's a whole new debate with some arrogant folks who are
I,
anti-laptop,
I
and it's
saw
like,
that.
and it's mainly
Really?
what I've heard. I don't want the homie DJ Cricket to say that I'm stereotyping EDM versus hip hop again. That's a whole other story. But basically, for what I've heard, is more so EDM DJs more so than hip hop DJs. But they're just bringing flash drives to the club, and there's some hip hop DJs I've heard too who bring a flash drive and plug it into the CDJs, and you don't have to have a laptop. And it's
Right.
like, to me, that's a good backup option. I
Mhm.
would love to. I mean, I'll probably keep a flash drive in case I have to switch out, or if the laptop is tripping or something. That's a cool backup. But to me, it's like it's always funny whenever new technology comes out, and then people end up being arrogant about it because people are either arrogant about being traditionalists or about being advanced. So 15 years ago, you were arrogant because y'all using a laptop. No, I'm on turntables. I'm using real vinyl. So now the fact that they're going opposite, now it's like I heard some of them say, yeah, you don't have to depend on your laptop to mix because we're using USB. I'm like, if you want to be arrogant about it, get some vinyl because you're still using technology. You're still using a flash drive and you're still using digital files. So you can't be so arrogant to me if you're not using vinyl. Like the only person who I can respect for being arrogant is somebody who's all vinyl with no technology at all. But aside from that, it's like y'all got to chill. Like it sounds stupid to me.
That's so interesting. So I come from I've been working with DJs for a long time, so from turntables
Yeah.
and then CDJs and then USBs.
CDJs.
So the house DJs that I've worked with, all of them have been using USBs for like ever. So, and
Yeah.
it's just like one of them things that, well, one, for outdoor events, it becomes easier because when you're doing summer events, your laptop overheats. So the
Oh, it's
USBs,
happened to me. Yeah.
right, it eliminates that problem. So I know that a lot of them do it that way because it's like, at least I ain't got to worry about my computer overheating.
Yeah.
So that's so interesting how folks will make a thing out of stuff.
It happens all the time on
Always,
TikTok.
yeah.
R-Tistic, have you been surprised at how many people are suddenly A&Rs and know everything about songwriting and publishing? It's like all of a sudden everybody's
Yeah.
they're all these experts. Twitter is a wild,
Yeah.
wild place when it comes to
Everybody
music.
knows everything. Yeah, everybody's an expert at everything. Even people who work in the street think they know every single thing that, like, I might mention, why is this song not bigger? And they come, well, because the label, something. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know for sure that's what happened? So yeah.
When the tweet starts off, well, actually,
Well, actually,
okay,
that's
all
a
right,
hashtag.
here we
Well,
go.
actually,
that's a running gag at this point. Well, actually,
Yeah, well, actually,
yeah.
can we we got a surprise for DJ R-Tistic. I think this is the
Oh, okay.
perfect time
Okay.
to do
Yes,
the
let's do
surprise.
this.
So we're going to play the surprise and then we'll be right back.
All right. Let's see.
DJ R-Tistic. Yo, bruh.
Oh wow!
I
Wow!
love the I Want to Be Down
Wow!
idea. It is just so fucking dope. It so brings it into now, and I would have never thought of that. That's the one of the best uses that I've seen of that sample, man. Thank you. All the best to you. Keep killing them, bro. DJ R-Tistic. Yes.
That's insane. Hey, appreciate you for that connect. I had no idea he heard it. Like that's always wild to me. The funny thing is, I did Brandy's daughter's party about 2 months ago. One thing about Brandy is that she doesn't like hearing her own music at the club or at parties. And I learned that 6 years ago when we had a spot called Tiffany's. We were doing Supreme Lounge at, and my boy Bad was DJing, and he told me that back then. Like she doesn't like hearing her own songs. So even when I did the party for her, I played like 2 throwbacks that she probably forgot about. I played The Rock With You she did with Heavy D with Quincy Jones, and she just gave me a look, just kind of like, really? And I'm like, it bangs though. And then it was funny because her daughter Sarai was just like, that's mom, huh? So her daughter hadn't even heard it before, which is crazy. But it's like, I wanted to play that remix, but I was just like, what if I play it and she don't like it? Or what if she, even though she was cool as hell, she's good people. That's my folks. But I was like, I don't want to play it and she gets mad. But I probably should have just tried it. But yeah, it's dope to see that video. So appreciate y'all for that.
absolutely. And I was telling J Ray, I was like, he's gonna really enjoy that from Kipper because sometimes we just play around and we make blends of records and we're like, oh, this is really cool. And I wonder if you always wonder, would the artists like this? Will people like this? Should I go public with it? Well, you heard it from the songwriter's mouth. That was hot.
That's
That was
validation.
hot. So
much love to y'all for that,
absolutely.
though. Thank y'all for that.
For sure.
I'm definitely taking that clip and posting that one.
Yes, we will. We made it. We will make sure that you have it. But yeah, he immediately texted me and was like, that was dope." I was like,
wow. Oh, thank you for that, though. I remember when I was making that blend. It's one of those things where, because it was right when I made it 4 years ago. It was back when Boot Up was the biggest song in the whole world, and I was like, I should throw a 90s song on top of it. The first song I experimented with was actually Subway and 702, this little game we play. Yeah. And that's way slower, but I was able to make it the same key, and I was like, it kind of worked, but it don't really hit hard enough. It's just, I'll try something else with that. And I was like, the second song I tried was Brandy, and I was like, oh, this just, it works somehow. So, yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Much love for that. Yeah.
That's what's up. So I'm glad we had that moment with Kipper. Shout out to Kipper Jones, friend, family to the show. We're having a really great time with DJ R-Tistic, going down memory lane with some of his best blends. Shout out to Kipper Jones, friend and family to the show for that shout out. But now's the time that we really get into the topic that we really called upon you to discuss. Because again, Twitter is a wild place all of a sudden when it comes to music and music opinions. Everybody's got one, and everybody is an expert. Of course, everybody's been talking about Beyonce's latest album, The Renaissance, or just Renaissance, which dropped a week ago. And a lot of people were enthused and excited because it was a throwback to ballroom. It was a throwback to club music, to dancing. People were excited. People that were excited about that club atmosphere and dancing again completely embraced it. But then, of course, there's always going to be some pushback. And we kind of saw this coming all the time. We kind of saw this when Drake, a few weeks prior, dropped his album, and we saw some pushback to him from the same section of the community that we're about to talk about this evening.